I said just briefly before, we've had a few more people join on. We're just going to give it a couple minutes to allow folks to just log on. So we'll probably start the presentation just in 2 or 3 minutes. So.
Jason, is there going to be a question and answer at the end? You're muted.
We'll go through the presentation and then we'll loop back around and answer any questions that anyone may have.
Okay, thank you.
I think we will get started here. So quick introduction. My name is Jason Tucker. I'm a regional manager with Maloney Properties. And I'll be going through this presentation information session with you all tonight. Also from Maloney Properties, Hector Gomez, he's a senior manager with Maloney Properties, is also in attendance for any technical assistance I may need this evening. And additionally, we also have joining us James Perrine from Commonwealth Community Developers, the president of Commonwealth Community Developers, who is the developer and owner of the property. So I will go ahead and start this presentation. So Westminster senior residence. I'm sure my tabs here are working. There we go. It's affordable senior housing in Westminster. It's located over on 6th Community Way, right behind the senior center for the town of Westminster, slightly up on the hill behind the building there. And it's brand new affordable rental community for seniors 62 years and older. So one of the requirements is that at least one household member has to be at least 62 to qualify. Just a quick overview of the community amenities. There'll be an on-site management office, ample parking, elevator accessibility to all the floors, 24/7 emergency maintenance. All the units are equipped with a walk-in shower. There is a community laundry facility, for the residents to utilize, community function rooms. And the rent also includes heating, cooling, hot water, electric, trash. So it's pretty much all inclusive. So the types of units. So all the units at the property are all 1 bedrooms, 50 1-bedroom apartments. 40 of the units are set at earning below 60% of the area median, and 10 of the units are available to extremely low households earning at or below 30% of the AMI, area median income. We'll go over that a little bit more in the next slide. And of those 10 units that are, for 30% or below, it's a mix of MRVP and project-based Section 8 vouchers that are reserved for the property. And of those 10, 3 of them are covered by a community-based housing program. So you have to meet certain requirements to qualify for those 3 CBH or community-based housing units, which we'll go over a little bit further too. And then of those 10, 2 of them, 2 of the project-based Section 8 units are a direct referral for the FCEF program for DMH from the state of Massachusetts. Once again, all units include heat, cooling, hot water, electricity, and trash. So the income qualifications. So 30% AMI, you would need to be making no more than 26,190 for a single household member, and 52,000. So I think those got mixed up on my slide, so I apologize. It's 29,940 for a 2-person household. And for the 60%, for the 1-person household, it's 52,380, and a 2-person household, it's 59,880. So unfortunately, my slide got mixed up a little bit there, so I apologize. And then all these units are part of what's called a low-income housing tax program. And they all need to comply with the Department of, well, that actually has been updated. It's the state low housing income tax credit guidelines. In addition to those that are below 30% also need to adhere to the MRVP and Section 8 guidelines from the agencies that administer those programs. So minimum income. So we've received a lot of questions about 30% AMI and the 60% AMI, and how we go about calculating and who is actually eligible to move in based off their income. So anyone who has an income of below 30% AMI who qualifies for one of the 30% project-based units, there is no minimum income requirement for those households who get selected for those units. Anyone coming into the property that might have a mobile voucher, there is no minimum income limit for those households either, because they would be paying 30% of their income due to the voucher that they have. For the tax credit units, those are the 60% AMI units. We use a 38% debt to income ratio, which means the rent, which is $1,430 a month, can't exceed 38% of your gross household income. And for these 60% AMI units, there is no maximum asset limit. It's only an income limit, but any income that's generated from your assets, interest, or earnings from investment accounts, that income that's earned is counted towards your household income, but not the assets themselves. And then there is an exception to that minimum income limit, and it's regarding your assets. So say your income may be less than that 45,000, 148, but you just sold a property, or you have some retirement savings, or other assets that are available to you. We will utilize those assets to qualify you for the unit, as well, for the 60% AMI units. And the way that we typically look at it is we're looking for people to have at least an asset level to support the difference between 38% of your income and the rent. So there's a quick little example down here at the bottom. And it just kind of shows that someone who's receiving $1,800 a month, $21,600 annually, 38% of their income is $684 a month. And that's what we'd consider affordable. So what we do, we'd take that $1,430 minus the $684, and it's a difference of $746 a month. And then we take that monthly difference, multiply it by 12 months, and then by 5 years, which gives us an asset level of at least $44,760 that we'd ask that people have available to support that minimum income requirement, to afford the tax credit 60% AMI unit rents of the $1,430. And that's only in the case where your income is less than that 45,158 minimum income level. We can go back over this in a little bit more detail after the presentation. I'm sure there's probably some questions. When will I know if I'm selected for an interview? So at the end of the application period, which the deadline is June 2nd, end of day June 2nd, to submit applications, either postmarked or emailed, or so that's the deadline. But following that period, we'll go through the applications, just make sure that everything's complete, that we've got everyone's that's come in through the mail. We'll give a couple-week period for any lingering mailed applications to come through. And then we will conduct a lottery. That is scheduled for Tuesday, June 17th at 12 p.m. Everybody who submitted an application will get either an email or a mailed letter, with an invitation to this lottery, which will take place in another Zoom type meeting. That link is on the Westminster Senior Residence's website. And it's a very, very quick process. What we'll end up doing is we will take everyone's names, we'll assign them a lottery number that you will also get. That lottery number will be provided in that letter that you get prior to the lottery. And we will submit it to this website. It's called random.org. And it's a certified randomizer website. And they will take our data and spit it out in about 30 seconds in a completely random order. And what we're only data that we're providing to them are those lottery numbers that we're going to be assigning to each person. And then we'll take those lottery assignments, match them up to everyone's application, and that is the order that we'll work from. And then we'll be also additionally sending out a letter typically within 2 business days of the lottery, letting everybody know what their position is on the lottery, from the lottery. There are a couple lottery waitlist preferences. So everyone that's going to be entered into the lottery are going to be in this general lottery pool. And it will go from 1 till whatever number of applicants that we have. And then from there, those that qualify for those CBH, community-based housing program preference units, will be pulled out of that. They'll still remain in the general pool, but they'll be pulled into a secondary list as well for the CBH units, and they'll be processed in order of their lottery number. So, you know, if lottery number 1, 5, and 10 all qualify for a CBH unit, they'll be pulled into this other wait list, and we'll start with the first one, number 1, then we'll go to number 5, and then number 10. And then same with the local preference. Anyone that qualifies for a local preference, they'll remain in that general pool, but then they'll also be pulled into the local preference pool. And that's for the units that are set aside for that local preference. There's 28 units. They're all 60% AMI units, so they're the ones that have the rent of the 1430. And, you know, to qualify for that local preference, you need to either be legally residing in the town of Westminster, an employee of the town of Westminster, or employed by a company or organization located in the town, or have a child enrolled in the Westminster school system. So those are the requirements. All the 30% AMI project-based subsidy units, all those will only be awarded from the general pool. So even if you're qualified for a local preference, but you only qualify for the 30% units, you know, you would be selected from that general pool based off your lottery number. None of those units will have a local preference. So what we need to have for my interview if I'm called. So after we do the lottery, we notify everybody. We'll start reaching out to the top households from the lottery and, you know, just confirm everything that they're still interested. Do a quick little phone interview to make sure that they income qualify, age qualify, and then what we'll do is we'll be setting up an in-person appointment where we'll ask you to bring in, you know, a bunch of information regarding your assets, copies of bank statements, any sort of income from employment or from Social Security or pensions or annuities. In addition, we'll be asking you to bring in copies of identification documents such as a passport or state ID, birth certificate, Social Security card, when you come in for the in-person interview. So you'll be provided a detailed list of all the documentation that we need to collect in order to process your application. What will the selection process be like? So all the applicants will have an interview with our management team. And that's what we'll be collecting all the documents, and there's some additional paperwork that would need to be filled out. Interview typically takes about, depending on your household size, if it's 1 person or 2 person, an hour to hour and a half. And once again, we just, collecting all this data that we need to be able to process your application with these low-income housing programs. And then we'll also go over, briefly, the lease, what would be asked of you, to move into this into this community. Just to make sure that you're, aware of all the rules as far as, respecting your neighbor and, annually, recertifying, your income. There's all sorts of other, you know, adhering to the lease as far as keeping your unit, safe and clean, and reporting any issues to management, those kinds of things. So we'll go through the lease, just to make sure that everyone's comfortable with what's being asked of you in the lease, before, proceeding and processing your application. So once again, application deadline, Monday, June 2nd. End of day, 11:59 p.m. Needs to be emailed, or postmarked by that date. Any applications received after that deadline won't be included in the lottery, but they'll be added to the wait list based on the date and the time that the application is received. So even if you missed the lottery deadline, we are still accepting applications, and we will just continually add them onto the wait list after the lottery applicants. If your email or phone number changes, we just ask that you, please reach out to us, send us an email, give us a phone call, and leave a message so we can just update your information so that when it comes time for processing, that we can make sure that we can actually get in touch with you. So again, the phone number to the voicemail for our team is here. It's on the website as well. It's on the application and the cover pages. So all this information is available once again on the website and on the application packets. And that's really it for the presentation. And what I'd like to do is kind of take some questions if folks have it. If anyone has any specific questions about the property or the process.
Yeah. Yes, I have a question. This is Carmela. Do you have to be a Westminster resident in order to apply for this housing?
No, nope, not at all. There is a local preference, like I mentioned, and that is only for for 28 of
Of the 40.
28 of the 40, 60% units. All the
Okay.
30% units and the additional 12, 60% units would be selected from a general pool, which has no resident preference whatsoever. Additionally, if there are extra local preference units that are not filled by Westminster residents, those would be then offered to anyone applying on the, from outside of Westminster on the general lottery.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Yep.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm going to be retiring this Friday. So when I do my income thing, do I go from what I'm going to be getting starting next week? Or am I supposed to go backwards to the beginning of the year?
Nope. We would just verify that you've actually retired with your employer. We'd send a paper to them just to verify that you're no longer working there, and we'd just take your income at that time.
Okay, that's great to know. Yeah.
Yep.
And I lived in Westminster for over 20 years, but I don't fit into that priority thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, and typically, just so you all know, I mean, it's rare that all the local preference units are
filled
are
up.
filled
Okay.
by residents in the town. Even in, some of these larger towns, it is rare that they're all filled. So.
Okay, that's a big help.
Yeah, Jason, I was an employee of Westminster and I received my pension from Westminster. That's not listed as a Westminster resident, but I do receive money from them.
Yeah,
So,
no,
what do you think?
unfortunately, that does not qualify for the the state guidelines for local preference, but like I said, you know, for those 60% units, there should be plenty, you know, of them to go around. Those are typically our, you know, the harder units to fill. So if that's what you're interested in, you know, there's most likely will be a pretty good chance that you'll have that opportunity. At this point, I mean, I just want to, you know, we looked at the applications the other day and we're just over 100 applications. I didn't go through, you know, what everyone's looking for as far as income wise, if they're looking at a 30% unit or a 60% unit. But oftentimes we, you know, for 50 units, we typically need a few more applications than that to fill it. So,
And can I just on your slide,
mhm.
it didn't seem to correspond with the information we got. The 60% AMI on the handout says 49,020 for one person, if I'm reading that correctly.
Yeah, so there was new income limits that came out like just after we pushed out the initial advertising. I think the second round of advertising got updated and the newer applications got updated. But there was new income limits that came out in like the first or second week of April. And the income limits went up slightly. So for
What is the income limit for one person for the 60% AMI?
the max income now for one person is 52,380.
And Jason, when you say max income, what is included in that? Like your social security, anything you get monthly?
Yeah, so what's typically included is yeah, Social Security, any sort of pension, any sort of employment wages. Additionally, if you're taking minimum distributions from your 401k, that's considered income and we would count that towards income.
So if you have a pension and when you withdraw money, that's included in the income, correct?
Yes,
I would think, yeah.
yes,
Okay. Okay.
correct.
All right. So I have another retirement question.
Yeah.
I'm going to retire in 6 months from my full-time job, which means my income will go down drastically. Should I still fill out an application now? Because I'm not sure if I'm going to qualify now or wait.
I would say still fill out an application and, you know, if we get to you on the wait list, we can have that conversation. We can put a little note next to your name and say, you know, you'll be, you know, retiring in November or whatever month it
Yeah.
is. And, you know, by chance, if we're still looking for applicants, we can reach out to you.
Okay.
Or if
I know on
there's
the application, there's a question that says, do you expect any life-changing
yeah,
things within a year? I guess I could put something down there, correct?
yep, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right,
And then
thank
that's
you.
just good information to know, and we'll have your information available to us. And like I said, if
Yeah.
we're still looking to fill units,
Mhm.
you know, we will absolutely
Right.
reach out to you.
I have a
And
question.
oh, go ahead.
No, sorry.
My only other question is, sorry, is there covered parking?
No,
Or-
it
There
is.
isn't. So what happens in a snowstorm? Do we have to go out and move our cars when they have to come and plow? Because that's usually the
Oh, you have to
case.
shovel too. No, I'm just joking.
No, we don't.
I'm just joking. No, yeah, we would have, you know, the parking lots would be plowed, and we would, you know, ask for people to help coordinate to move cars around so we can plow, you know, so there's not big snow piles in between the cars.
Right.
But yeah,
Okay. Okay. And are there balconies?
no, I do not believe there are any balconies.
Okay. It's hard to tell from the picture.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna be quiet.
No,
Yeah,
no.
that
Great
was
question.
my
Great question.
question too about the cars. That's a very big problem because I'm 77 and I can't go out and clean my car and move it. So are there any other options that it can be moved some other way?
Yeah, I mean, the car will be able to be, to be moved. I mean, the only thing that you have to do is like clear off your car. We'll do our best to clear out in between, the areas so people can get to their cars and do whatever we can to
But that's what
alleviate.
I mean. I couldn't clear off my car.
Yeah.
So, we can't hire somebody to pay to clear off cars or something.
That's something we could discuss, but as it stands right now, we just have a contractor coming in to do plowing and some
Okay,
in between work from our folks, but that's something that we could discuss down the road. But unfortunately, it's nothing I could commit to at this point.
yeah.
Jason, I have a question about the HVAC.
Yes.
What is the fuel for the HVAC?
The entire building is electric. So it's electric heat pump, forced hot air.
And the stove, you say it's all electric, so the
Yeah.
stove is electric as well?
Stove is electric as well.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
A couple of them. I don't understand the lottery. Does that mean you're just pulling names out of a hat?
More or less. So we're taking everyone's name, we're assigning them a lottery number, like 1 through whatever, and then we're taking those lottery numbers. So say, I think typically what we would do is we'll be like, WS 001, 002, put them into a spreadsheet, and then we put that data into the website, and it just randomly reorganizes them, like you're
Oh.
pulling them from a hat.
Okay,
Pretty much without the process of actually having to pull them from a hat.
I see. And how, square footage, how big are those apartments? I know you know that.
I do not know it off the top of my head.
Probably
and
650, I bet.
I have the information. Just need to find it. Jim, are you still on?
$650 sounds pretty good. It's around there. I don't remember the exact footage myself, unfortunately.
Thank you, but that does sound
Yeah.
right. And
Okay. And are pets allowed at all?
Yeah, we will be allowing pets. The exact pet policy has not been ironed out yet, but
Okay,
yeah, there will be, pets will be allowed.
okay.
Is there going to be an extra fee for pets?
Not at
A
this
fee?
time.
No.
The plan is not to. Can't speak for what will come down the line, but for the time being, the plan is not to charge for pets.
With
Could you
regards
tell-
to laundry facilities, is there going to be a laundry room on each floor? And how many washers and how many dryers in each? I'm frankly surprised that each unit doesn't have like one of those small stackable washer dryers in there.
So the issue, just so you guys all know, is that DHCD with the low housing income tax credit program doesn't allow for individual washers in the units.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is typically why you don't see them. Jim, I can't.
And I might add, as far as the balconies, that was another, we had proposed doing balconies for all the units, which I thought would have been pretty good. And I had a really strong argument at the time. There, we even had a link to a video for one in Montreal where people were doing Zumba on their balconies during COVID.
No.
Anyway, that unfortunately didn't persuade them. So
So,
we had to eliminate the balconies.
good for them. Oh, gosh.
And likewise, we had originally hoped to have covered parking, but that likewise was something that it was a matter of the expense was pretty high to do that, and so we had to eliminate that as well, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I think, nonetheless, I'm very happy with how the apartments have been designed and the amenities that we will have, and I think you'll really enjoy it.
Is it rugs or flooring? What's the floors like?
It's going to be flooring in the units. It's a kind of a wood look flooring, which I've used elsewhere, but it'll be more vinyl type tile in the hallways, which is not ideal, but that's sort of living within our budget. The other is a number of people have wind up in a situation where they kind of shuffle along, and sometimes their feet get caught in the and they wind up tripping on carpet, believe it or
Right.
not, even very
Mhm.
flat wall-to-wall carpet. So we've been they discouraged using that as well.
So yeah, it's a nice, vinyl plank flooring. It's nice and easy to keep clean, low allergen.
I like that idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Exactly. And additionally, like all the units, there are 7 fully accessible units, but all the units are built to be modifiable to fully accessible, which means that all the doorway clearances, all the turn radiuses, the bathroom sizes, all those measurements are ADA, meet ADA requirements for accessibility. So the only things that may not be is like your bathroom vanity or your kitchen cabinet countertops. Those things may not be fully accessible, but could be modified if needed to be. So, between that and the walk-in showers, it is very, very accessible for anyone that has any sort of mobility issues.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering on the application, it says current landlord. I own a house. I got it through farmers, so they go by your income. I was wondering, what do I put down?
Just put down that you own, or just write a little note that just says own, currently own.
Right, because right now I have stairs going in and out of my house. The stairs are being more difficult for me.
Yep.
So that's why I'd like, an apartment either on the first floor or something that has an elevator.
Yep, and yeah, all the floors are accessible by 2 elevators, right, Jim?
Yep.
So,
And the bathrooms, do they also have higher toilets and grab bars?
I believe, I'm not 100% sure on the toilet height.
Yeah,
As far as the
I don't
grab
know
bars
that
go, I know the showers come pre-installed and there's a bench in every shower. And if there are not grab bars where you need them to be, we can easily put those in for you. That is not a problem.
And do they have a handheld shower head as well as a regular shower head?
I am not sure of what the shower head setup, but typically in those shower setups, it's either, a removable shower head, handheld, that acts as both. Not like 2, but there could be 2. I am not 100% sure on what the shower head selection is yet. I'm not even sure if they're at that point yet.
I'm not sure.
And if it doesn't have, both, can you have somebody there install one for you?
Yes, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, that's not an issue whatsoever.
Jason, I have a lottery question.
Sure.
If one is fortunate enough to be drawn in the lottery, how are the apartments assigned?
So how they're assigned is it's based off, I mean, everyone will be given a lottery number. It's just a matter of where you're placed on that list. And we'll start at the top and work our way down. So whoever gets lottery number 1, we'll start with them and just work our way down the list. And it'll be the same thing for the local preference. Anyone that's in the local preference will be pulled out. It'll be based off their lottery number from that general pool. And we'll just start at the first one and work our way down.
But so the first one has every apartment available in that group, and they can choose anyone they want?
Potentially. So, the 30% units are going to be pre-assigned because we have to notify, we have a contract for specific unit numbers. So those 10 units will be predetermined, as well as the CBH units, which are part of those 10, because those have additional features that some of the other units don't have for their program. But outside of that, and the fully accessible units, they'll get, like, someone needs a fully accessible unit and there's 3 fully accessible units available. They'll get the choice of which of those that they want. And the same thing goes for the 60%, regular 1-bedroom units. That person will have the choice of choosing which unit they would like to be in, prior to the person that's below them.
Jason, I have a question
Yeah.
regarding, so I don't even know if, I was told to apply for this for my daughter, but I don't know that based off of this that we can. She's 26 with a physical disability since birth. So we were directed to apply for this because we're looking for independent housing, like an apartment for her. So based on her disability status and, getting Social Security, SSDI and SSP, is that something that, because she's under, 62 or whatever, is this something that we shouldn't even be looking at?
Yeah, unfortunately, there is that. It's, for 62 and older.
Regardless of the disability piece. Correct.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Next door system will be this video on TV.
I just ask anyone who's not currently asking a question to mute their.
Open sleeping weather will be in the 50s when you wake up tomorrow morning. See a mix of sunny clouds tomorrow. Again, fairly mild. Look at Boston. We'll start with a light westerly breeze. Then we see the breeze turn on shore. We would see the same thing anywhere along the coast from the North Shore.
Might need to repeat that.
Yeah. Anyone who's not currently asking a question, can you please mute?
We'll have more sunshine in the morning, and that's an increase in cloudiness in the afternoon.
Maybe not.
Can you mute everybody?
Yeah, I'm trying to look for
Because
the
you're the
button.
user. Yeah.
I'm trying to look for that mute all button, but I'm not finding it.
So Jason, you did say
Yeah.
regardless of disability, the age limit is.
Yeah, unfortunately, in this program, they would not be eligible. You still would need to be 62.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Yeah, no
So I'm
problem.
gonna bring
Can I
up-
just a suggestion to, I'm not sure if you're connected with the CBH program.
She does, she does, is followed under DBS, but she doesn't live in a community, in a group home. She lives at home with us. So I don't want her to go to a group home, I think.
Oh, no, I was just saying, because all new, or a good chunk of the new building apartments in Massachusetts have, some sort of like a CBH unit, which is, available for those who would be at risk of going into like an institution type setting
Yep.
at some point, or live in a situation where they don't have easy access to and from other features of the units that they need.
Okay.
And starting like after this project, those are those units are gonna be direct referrals, from CVH.
How do we
So
do-
if you can, get her on that wait list,
Jason, if you click on
Yeah.
participants,
so,
you should be able to mute all there. There you go.
there, found it. I was going one by one. And I
Yay.
think I'm muted who was asking the question too.
do I, who do I contact about community-based housing? Like, is that something that I go through like, the state or?
It's through the state, it's through Mass Rehab.
Oh, through
Um,
Mass Rehab,
But
okay,
if you want to send me an email,
okay,
it's jtucker@maloneyproperties.com.
at maloneyproperties.com, okay,
I can send you a link and put you in contact with someone that administers the program. I
okay,
think that would be a good resource, because anytime those units become available, they get filled, through that department.
okay, great, thank you for the
Yeah,
direction.
no, you're welcome.
And I hate to be a pain, but I know the laundry question hasn't been answered yet. So are there laundry facilities on each floor? And if so, how many washers and dryers are there on each floor?
I can answer that. There are laundry rooms on each floor, and except that I don't know how many machines we're getting.
Okay. And is there a fee for that to use it?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll have maybe like some sort of a debit card or something to use? that you
Yeah, it'll
can
be a
keep
card-based
filling?
system that you can,
Okay.
There'll be a machine that you can charge it on, but there'll also be, an app or website-based thing that you can also load funds onto it with.
Yeah, that would be difficult for
Yeah, so but there's also going to be a,
mom.
yeah, there
to
will
do
be
with the
also be a
app, but,
machine
she can
at
use
the
a credit
facility.
card, that would be great.
Yeah, there'll be one centrally located in the building that you can use to
Okay.
reload.
Does it have a
Thank you.
dishwasher?
Yes,
It does?
yes,
Hi, I have a question.
yes.
Do you have any idea how much the electric bill would run each month?
All the utilities are included in the rent.
Oh, even though this is all electric?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
So
And one
takes-
more question.
Takes that burden off.
Mhm.
Yes, you're right. And my other question would be, say if you're selected under the lottery and you go through that whole process, how much would you need for rent? Is this first, last security, or how does that go?
Sorry, it broke up a little bit on me. Can you just repeat that last question?
Sure. If you're elected under the lottery, how much would you need to pay to get in to the apartment? Is it like first, last, then security?
It would just be a security deposit and, and then your first month's rent.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I have another question.
Yes.
So, there I go. Oh, here I am. So, if you don't get selected, if I didn't get selected, would my name be put on a wait list?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So like say, for instance, like, there's only the, handful of 30% units. And I'm sure we'll have more applicants for those than what we'll have available. Anyone who doesn't get selected would stay on the wait list. And then, once all the units are filled, coming up in a year, we'd send out like a update to make sure that you're still interested and want to stay on the wait list.
So if you are put on the wait list this first round, and then after that you have more people applying, do we on the first wait list get priority or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Everyone stays on the wait list per their lottery number, and then anybody else who applies after, it's by the date and time received. But after those that are on the lottery.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
How about cable and internet?
You would be responsible for those. Jim, I'm not sure what you have going in there. Is it Verizon or is it,
Comcast,
Comcast?
I know we're getting.
Okay.
Yeah, they seem to have a monopoly in our town, unfortunately.
So, yeah, but that would be responsible of the tenant, for internet.
But
and-
you don't have like a group rate for
No,
everyone?
Mm.
Okay,
no.
all right.
Just check the chat real quick to make sure.
I have a question.
Yes, Donna.
Yeah, when would the apartments be ready to be able to move in?
They're scheduled to be finished sometime in August. The exact time is yet to be determined. I mean, construction's a little fluid, but we were hoping that we'd be able to start moving people in, sometime towards the end of August, early
And
September
that's
at the
this year?
latest. What was that?
That would be this year?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
this year.
Okay, and also when you find out if you get in or not, can you put your house on the market then?
Yes,
And is that also considered in the income?
it won't be considered income, it'd be considered an asset. So any
Okay.
proceeds that you get from the house would be just considered an asset. So,
Okay, and does that affect your rent?
no, the rent
Okay.
would be that set rent of the 1430.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
So Jason, the 1430, that's the most one could pay, right?
Yes, there will be
That's
increases.
the highest.
Yeah, it's the highest for right now. But there would be, small incremental increases each year.
So each year that gets reviewed,
Yeah,
put
it
in
gets
your
reviewed.
tax return or whatever.
It's not, so with the 1430 rent, isn't based on your income. I mean, you need to have a certain income to qualify for that. But the
Oh,
rent's
okay.
not based on your income. Once you're living there, you can, your income doesn't affect your rent, but there could be like small incremental increases just for operating budget purposes. 2 or 3% increase. Won't be anything substantial, but there will be like annual increases in the rents.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have another question.
Yes.
Would you have any pictures available anytime soon?
Probably not until the units get a little closer to completion.
Mhm.
We'll try to see if we can get one of the units, available to show applicants, earlier than the building being completed. But that's something that that we'll need to coordinate, access to. But, the idea would be to have, at least one unit that could be available to show
Mhm.
people for like typical finishes and whatnot, 3 or 4 weeks before, people would have to start moving in.
And are these small apartments?
No, I mean, 650 square feet for a 1 bedroom. I mean, that's a typical size 1 bedroom apartment.
Okay.
Is that like 600 square feet, 900 square feet?
They're like around 650. They
650.
vary a little bit. Just make sure that we got to all the questions. From the think you got them all, Hector, right?
I think so. And you answered some of the ones I couldn't get to.
Okay.
Are
Okay.
appliances gonna be stainless steel?
I do not know the color. Jim, do you have that information yet?
I don't remember the color.
I hope it's not dark cabinets, Jim.
Well, they're wood cabinets. They are, I'd say, a little on the darker side, but they're not anywhere near black
Well, yeah.
or walnut or something. But they look nice.
Thank you.
While I have the floor, I just want to say thank you to everybody for your interest, and we're trying to make nice homes for everybody, and Jason and his team are trying to. I've worked with them before, and they do a really good job of managing. So I think it'll be very very nice for everybody, and I hope I hope you all do well in the lottery.
Yes.
So
Who's
maybe
doing the
special
interior
discount.
design? Who's doing the interior design of
It's
the
our-
facility?
Our architectural firm, Winslow Architects, did the interiors.
Okay.
And I've worked with Winslow before, and they've always done a great job with everything they've done. I haven't
Oh, good.
personally seen the finished product here yet, but I have a lot of faith in John Winslow and his team. So
Is there a gathering room in the place?
Yes.
There is, okay.
And it looks like there's an outside, like patio area, correct?
Yes.
From what I see in the pictures, yeah,
yes.
with tables and,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Thank you.
So if anyone has additional questions, you're welcome to email the Westminster senior at maloneyproperties.com, and we will get back to you with some answers to any of your questions, any other additional questions that you guys may have. Once again, thank you all for participating in this, and we look forward to meeting many of you in person as we start to process applications soon.
Thank you for your time, everyone.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks so
very
much.
much.
Thank you.
Good luck to
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank
Mhm.
you
Good
all.
luck.
Thank you.
All right. Bye now.
Bye all.
Bye-bye.